right, guys, on this episode of Success Series, we are going to be talking about how much money is needed to start a business. You're looking at starting a business and you want to find out exactly how much money is needed. It's kind of hard to really determine that, to be frank, but at the end of the day, if you get a couple of pointers in here and you understand a couple of fundamental items that we're going to talk about in this video, this will set you up for the best rate of success. Going into this blind, not going to be good. And what am I talking about? You need to understand what type of business. Certain businesses require more capital up front, some don't. You need to understand what could come about along the way that you just didn't have any idea existed, and you would have been blindsided from it if you didn't watch this video. So what we're going to define first is what the startup costs are. You have one-time costs. One-time costs are things like equipment, legal fees, permits, things like that. Licenses, these are things that you need up front, and these are going to be one-time costs. Insurance isn't included because that is something that you need reoccurring. Other things are not going to be included that are reoccurring because those aren't one-time costs. So you have one-time costs, you have reoccurring costs. Just talked about one of those. Inventory, payroll, insurance, utilities, rent. Those are things that are going to be reoccurring along the way. Now, if you can understand what those are and make a spreadsheet and do some calculations to run these, you can get a good idea of exactly what costs you're going to have month to month. And ironically, you'll be able to understand and be in the know on exactly what you need to prepare for and how to budget your costs effectively, as well as how many costs that you have and what they are, because a lot of people don't. There's a lot of businesses that I talk to and they have no idea when they're starting a business and bootstrapping a business exactly what to expect, when a lot of this stuff could be planned for, and ironically enough, you could actually have a better understanding of that before doing certain things and actually have a plan and a strategy. So now, business type is going to be determining certain cost. And why does this matter? Because there's difference between capital intensive businesses and low cost startups. What's the major difference? Well, there's going to be advantages and disadvantages to both, right? But essentially, high cost or capital intensive businesses, which have a high cost up front, those are going to be things like manufacturing, automotive manufacturing, oil and gas production, mining, any type of manufacturing, and of course, real estate. Why is this? You need to buy the equipment up front to make sure that the business runs. So this is a general rule here that you can utilize in your own mind, if you will, and say, look, does my business need a lot of equipment to operate? If my business does need a lot of equipment to operate, what is it? How much of it is needed? What's the very minimum amount that is needed to get the business to continue to go? And then ultimately, how long are you going to have to pay that back? Can you finance it? These are all things that you should be asking yourself when doing this, because these equipments that you buy are going to have to run the business. The business needs the equipment in order to run accordingly and appropriately. Other businesses that are not high capital intensive upfront, that are going to be low cost startups, are going to be things like SaaS businesses, e-commerce online, drop shipping, things like that. Very low, very easy to get into. That's why there's a lot of people doing it. Freelance talent, online platforms, all of that stuff. Those have very minimal onboarding costs because there's no equipment that's needed. You're essentially brokering services, and it's an arbitrage between what you're paying and what you're actually selling to the customer. So it's easy there, and ultimately, these are good businesses to get into. However, don't let you shy away from this. There's a business here in Vegas, and they have a couple of $2 to $5 million machines. And you probably look at that and go, oh my gosh, that's astronomical. However, this business literally kills it. They're working with SpaceX. They're working with a lot of huge people in the manufacturing space and the technology space. And what they do is they have laser machines that laser cut metal. And this is just one avenue that you can go. Now, the good thing about high startup businesses like this is there's going to be far and few. The reason being is the costs are so high to get involved. Nobody wants to put the package together, put the financing together, or put their understanding of the business together to actually start it, because the barrier to entry is so high. And so ultimately, you're going to have less people doing it, which makes it better for you when you get in it. This business, they're killing it. The majority of their business isn't even in Vegas. It's all across the United States, where people come to them, they design, they do the cut, they do some CAD, they get back to the client, then the client gets the metal from them, maybe ships their metal in, and then they get their tubes or their plates or whatever laser cut. And it's something so simple. However, the machines, $2 to $5 million, and they have a couple of them. And ultimately, I've seen this business and worked with over the last few years, and it's great. So this is not always a bad thing. High intensive startup and large capital expense up front is not necessarily a bad thing. Just wanted to paint the picture of both of those. I don't have to go into the low-cost ones because you already understand that from looking at everybody else that's doing coaching, consulting, freelancing, arbitrage, anything from video editing, all of that stuff. Any of that online, a lot of people are doing it. That's why there's so many of them, because it's so easy to get into. Now, business type determines the cost as well. Like I said, online businesses, you got your drop shipping. Brick and mortar stores are going to be more expensive. Why? You have to pay rent. People that are running a drop shipping business, they can run it out of their house. They don't have to get an office. They want an office, they don't have to. I've seen marketing firms, they get an office, they get a ton of people, and they think in their mind, hey, this is going to make my business look bigger and operate better. And it's actually untrue, because a lot of other businesses don't do that, and they're doing a lot better, where they either off-source or outsource the work, off-source to some other company, or people are working remotely and there's no office with overhead expenses and lease, insurance, workers' comp, the whole 9 yards. Now I have to do the plug here because I actually teach businesses how to take some of their existing staff, minimize that, and put it into virtual scaling, which is anything from virtual assistants to other consultants, coaches, anybody else, architects, engineers, lawyers that are in the US, out of the US for some services like digital marketing, photos, videos, VAs, anything like that. Like if you think about it, it can be outsourced around the world somewhere else at a better rate with somebody more diligent, and you don't have to worry about insurance, workers' comp, or anything like that. I'll put a link in the description for that. That's not what the video is about, but if it helps you, then great, because you might want to take a look at this instead of hiring a bunch of staff locally, having to really oversee them and pay the workers' comp, the insurances, and all that stuff. Now, essential financial breakdown. This is level 3 here into this. So we have defined startup cost number 1. We're going to have business type determining cost number 2, and then you have essential financial breakdown. You need to understand the finances within your business. You need to understand how to calculate a budget. What are the initial costs? What are the operating costs? What are the emergency funds and the contingency funds? What happens if something goes wrong and you have to fix it, or you have to hire another service to come in and fix it for you? Are you doing things in-house? Are you going to be outsourcing things? What's the trade-off for both? I've done a lot of things in-house with manufacturing, and I will tell you, I can save money, but my time and my cost and my involvement as the owner, as the manager at that point, was through the roof. It was easier, and somebody else has the process a lot more refined. When I outsourced it to them, they got it back faster, and it was a lot better job than we did in-house. Less oversight. I would gladly pay the higher cost on that. That's one exception to paying a higher cost here, because they do it better than I do, and they do it all day long, whereas I'm only doing it for a certain part of an assembly line. Now, car manufacturers, different case, right? They have a whole department that'll handle certain things, but we're talking about small business here. So key tools to help estimate costs. Financial calculations, budgets, performas, things like that. These are things that you want to get in line with. I'll put some resources here in this video. We have them on chriscraze.com. I believe it's /tools, or if you go to the bottom and hit tools, and we have resources with this that'll kind of jog your mind and get you better understanding about the different topics that we talk here and where you can look at to get more information on these, or simply just go online. Go online, search what are things that I need to do to get my budget in line for a business that I am starting. That's the long version. You could probably shorten it, but you want to understand these things. Play around with some numbers. The better you know the numbers, the better you know your business, the better you know everything. Your cost, your staff, your insurances, your margins on everything. I mean, you can project a lot of these things and see and run different scenarios. Good, better, best. Or best, medium, and worst case scenario, and run those. When are you in danger? Things like this are good to think about. Now, number 4 is going to be your funding sources. Where is your funding coming from? Bootstrapping businesses, not a bad idea. It's long, it's hard. I've done it multiple times, at least 6 times, taking businesses to over $1 million in revenue. And why is that important? Because a lot of businesses in the 90% fail, right, within the first 5 years. I believe it's 80 or 90%. Don't quote me on the exact number because this changes. However, these are all companies that I've started, myself and my wife. We bootstrapped it from our own money, got the product line, got the products down, got the minimum viable product, and marketed the hell out of it. And ultimately, these ran. And these are companies that are still operating today. Some of these are with Kroger, Pepsi, Ace Hardware, Walmart, any major hotel, theme parks like Disney, NFL, NHL, you name it. And these are across a couple different businesses without transfer of services between any of them. So it can be done. You just have to focus on it. Bootstrapping is hard. You're going to have more time. It's going to take more time in order to bootstrap. Now it's not a bad thing. The reason why is you are with the business every step of the way, right? So you understand the money coming in is valuable. You need to watch where you're spending it when it goes out. And I've actually personally found that founders or entrepreneurs or business owners that bootstrap their own businesses are a little bit more diligent with the money because it's their money. They want to make sure it's cared for, and they don't want to make sure, or they want to make sure that they're not careless with it, right? Now, what would happen if you got a series of money from investors? It's not my money. You know, we can be a little bit more careless. We think we need this. We think we need that. We think we're going to go with these. And guess what? You don't. Or you don't shop around for certain things. Always 3 bids. Get 3 bids for everything. Shipping quotes, 3 bids. Projects, 3 bids. Subcontractors coming in, 3 bids. Don't always pick the lowest one because you might get hit with the change orders. I mean, there's so many things to jog the mind here, and just think about this. So just do that. Think. Now you have bootstrapping, you have loans, you can get SBA loans, you can get business loans, there's other personal loans that are out there that people take to start their businesses. There's also business loans. Those business loans that come into the business, sometimes it's not on your personal credit, so that's a good thing. Now there's crowdfunding, people putting money together. You can buy a business and take over and do seller finance with that. That's a new hot thing, and it's been around for a while. There's a ton of baby boomers that are trying to do this and get rid of their businesses. So maybe coming in and buying a business. However, if you have a core set of customers, I wouldn't advise coming in and drastically changing anything because you're gonna disrupt the business like that, right? They have processes, they have flows, they have things like that that flow. Okay, so we have bootstrapping, we have loans, there's crowdfunding, and then you have angel investment as well. We did talk about a couple of others as well, like buying other businesses, but angel investment is good as well. There are angel investors out there that will invest in the business, and ultimately they may want a portion. They will want a portion. I don't think that anyone's going to offer money and not have a stake in the business. However, just know that the route with angel investors, sometimes depending on who it is, if it's a firm, if it's individual, things like that, they're going to want to be involved in the business at some point and have some determination on it, on some decisions that are made. I'll just leave it at that because that could spark an entire other conversation. So examples of businesses, you have low, mid, and high tier businesses. And there's going to be low tier businesses. You can Google what those are. Obviously the mid and the high tier businesses. These are businesses, I mean, they could be looked at in different retrospect, right? These are businesses that are easy to get into. These could be larger businesses. You have difficulty levels of getting into these businesses. And also you have to look at certain costs that are going to be involved with these as well. So hidden costs to watch for: marketing, taxes, permits, insurance, software tools, any software online, things like that. You have to watch out for that. Marketing, I will tell you, as a marketer and running a marketing company and having my own marketing, that I know to take all of my businesses from zero to many millions. I think 60 million plus in sales over the course of a few different businesses, not all of them. However, I will tell you this: if you know your own marketing and you know it well, you have an advantage over others. And the reason why is this: is you can go to the marketing companies and tell them what you want, what their products, services, or offers are with them, and see if it's good, see if it's for you, and ultimately focus on the organic marketing. Businesses that go into paid ads, they get stuck in the cycle where you have to keep paying for ads to keep the faucet on and to keep the leads coming in. If you run organic marketing, you're not going to see things right away, first, second, third, all the way up to 7, 8, 9 months. However, when the organic traffic starts coming in, it's there. As long as you update your content, it's relevant, it ranks better than others. Ultimately, you are going to be ahead of the game because that's free traffic coming in for one piece of digital real estate that you did at that time. And think of yourself like this: if I can give you one tip to end this video, it is this. Every business, you should consider yourself a marketing company first that just happens to sell a product second. You're probably like, why would I do that? I will tell you now, I've done that with every one of my businesses, and the amount of money that I've spent on marketing is very, very minimal compared to if I went to a marketing agency that just did a pay to play, dollar for dollar for ad spend, or a certain amount for every lead, whatever the case is. You have to rely on them. If you can get them out of the picture or get a marketing company, buy one, start one, learn marketing yourself, you are way much more advanced than anybody else, and you're farther ahead. Not to mention, if you think of yourself as a marketing agency first, how do I publish my story? How do I get my brand story out there, my product story, our movement, what the needs, wants, and desires of the people are, mass desire, all of that. You will go farther than many businesses out there that are literally just trying to sell a product. That wraps this episode.